Hello, I'm Graham Fitch, and I'm bringing you this demonstration for Pianist magazine from Steinway Hall, as usual, back in our old room. And we're going to be talking today about split chords, spread chords, arpeggiation, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to give you a few tips as to how you can decide how to deal with some of the tricky customers we find in the repertoire. So let's look first of all at what a spread chord is, because there's a difference between a spread chord and a split chord. So if I had to play this, now my hand can stretch that, but a lot of hands can't stretch that. So if the composer has written that and hasn't actually indicated that it should be rolled or split, we of course have to do something about that to make sure we can play it. So the alternatives, one note after the other, bottom to top. And if we do that quickly, that's an arpeggiation or a spread chord. I could split it by playing the bass note first and then the top three notes later. I might even do it the other way around. I might start from the bottom three and play the top note afterwards. So that's the difference really between a split chord and a spread chord. Sometimes we can redistribute, and I'll show you that as we go along. So if the other hand's idle or not doing too much, we might just discreetly take the top note with the other hand. Omitting notes is the last choice. We really don't want to leave notes out, but there are times when we don't have any choice. If we can't reach, we can't reach, and blame the composer. So just quickly about the different style periods. In the Baroque period, we're allowed to arpeggiate chords whether the composers mark them in or not. Almost any chord is eligible for a arpeggiation. The rule of Baroque playing is whether we're using pedal or not, we hold on to the notes with the fingers. So if I were to arpeggiate the first chord in the Italian concerto of Bach, which I sometimes do and I sometimes don't do, it really depends on my mood, but let's say I do. Now, actually this brings up a very important point. I'm in an extremely live acoustic here. Steinway's just redone their room, and I hardly needed any pedal. I didn't touch the pedal as it happened, which is, again, something to remember because people often ask me about the pedal. Should I pedal here? Should I not pedal here? And it depends on the piano. It depends on the room. Now, if this room were filled with people, I might need a touch of pedal. But as it is, it's fairly empty. I didn't need to touch my pedal. But did you notice what I did? One note after the other, and I held on to my fingers. So not that. This is a romantic thing to do. Lift the fingers up and catch it in the pedal. So even if I were using pedal, I would still want to hold on to my fingers. Similarly in classical music, the beginning of Mozart 311, K311 sonata. So what we do there, what we should do there if we're playing stylistically is to begin the spread with the left hand. So my F sharp comes with my left hand because it's only the right hand that's arpeggiated. Rather than, which is not very stylistic. So in Romantic period music, some of the chords do actually come on the beat, and I'll show you some as we get to them. But it's the timing of the hand with the foot that is crucial in spreading chords. I know I've used this example before, I'll just quickly re-quote it from the Träumerei of Schumann. You know, the beginning of this, there's a spread chord coming up, which most people couldn't reach, and even if they could, Schumann's actually asked us to spread that. How did I do that? Let me show you. So when I get to my top F, I hold onto the key, onto the F, change pedal, which means I don't have any break in my melodic line, and I clean my harmony beautifully. So it's often the timing of the hand with the foot. The first example that I'd like to show you from the repertoire, and I think a lot of people struggle with this, is from the G-flat impromptu of Schubert, the beginning. Let me just show you. Here, I want to catch my D flat in the pedal. So the only way to do that is to put the D flat on the beat and then the two thumbs together afterwards. So it's in slow motion. Let me go from the beat before. And the two thumbs together. And bingo, I've caught my bass note. I do the same thing in the Liebestraum, number 3 of Liszt. You know this beautiful, famous song of Liszt. Later in bar 17, we've got similarly kind of large spread chords there. Sometimes there are only tenths, like here. But what's really important with these spread chords is to catch the bass note in the pedal rather than catch them like that and then pedal, which is what a lot of people do when they don't get this right. So let me do it in slow motion or medium speed so you can hear. Did you hear what I did there? Let me slow it down a little bit for you. Together with the bass, and then these notes come later. So what effectively it means is the second and the third left-hand notes probably finish by the time I start my right-hand quavers. And if I play them really lightly, the second and the third notes, they don't sound obtrusive at all. We hide them. But what we get is the benefit of the luxury of the whole spread. It's a lovely little prelude of Alcan, J'étais endormi, from the Opus 31 set, number 13. I'm going to talk now about how we might sneakily redistribute. There's a bar, let me just play you the beginning of it. It's a really beautiful piece. This chord. Now my hand is big enough to manage the ninth, but if it weren't, I could just take the lower note with my left hand. And there's another one a little bit later where we've got to play a tenth here with a note in the middle. Now my hand, again, I'm lucky I've got a big enough hand to do that. It's a bit of a stretch, but there's a lot of hands that wouldn't be able to do that. How to manage it? Well, here I would recommend a spread and then omit the F, the thumb F in the following two notes. You may think, well, why don't I just spread all three? It just makes a bit of a meal out of it. It sounds really obtrusive. So we have to find our way as we go along. Just two examples from Rachmaninoff, the G-sharp minor prelude, opus 32, number 12. This wonderful spread chord that he gives us. I actually haven't got the bar number here, but it's a big, luxurious spread. If I play from the beat before that, let me just show you from the beat before, and I'll slow down, I can show you what I'm doing. Play the E flat with a new pedal, play the next E with a thumb, go over with the fifth finger. Now I've got a couple of choices here. I can either move my whole arm, land on my third finger, or if I wanted to finger it, I could have a fingering 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 4, or 1, 2, 3, or I could even go over with the left hand. Don't change pedal here. Promise me you won't change pedal there. There's where you change the pedal. Let me just give you one more example because I'm frightened I'm going to run out of time. Again from the Rachmaninoff repertoire, from the Elegy. Beautiful piece, the Elegy. If you don't know it, check it out. It's the most magnificent piece. There's a place here where people usually get in a bit of a muddle. Now I have a spread, which I want to play generously with a bit of time, but I don't want to lose my top B flat. So what do? Hold on to my B flat until after I have changed the pedal. Then I've got all the time in the world to change and to take as much time as I want. I've got one more example, which is the Chopin Nocturne in C minor, opus 48, number 1, the chordal section, which drives everybody bananas because it's really hard to figure out how to do it. What I'm going to do, you'll know the place I mean, it's actually bar 29. I'm going to do it super slowly from the upbeat to bar 29, showing you what I do and talking over the top of myself. Hold on to the top G while I change my pedal. That way I don't lose my melodic line. I'm holding on to the top E, change the pedal on the bass. Hold on to the top notes. you're getting the idea, by holding onto the top melody note, letting go of the right hand underneath chord, changing pedal on my bass note, and if you time that beautifully, you'll find that you can preserve the melody line on the top and the harmonic changes will all be completely clean and clear. It's a really good solution to the issue there, because I think a lot of people struggle with it. I'm out of time. I'm going to have to stop. I hope that's given you a few ideas. Looking forward to seeing you soon.